The Eibach pace car, that's Harry's personal car, by the way, pulls off the racetrack. And the last green flag of 2025 is about to fly here in Eibach GRIDLIFE Touring Cup. The championship has been decided, but there's one more checkered flag left to wave. And we're underway in Eibach GLTC. Brian Heddy and Eric Magnuson lead us to turn one.
Heddy maintaining the inside and a little bit better lunge on the braking zone. Inside left. Clean so far.
So we come up out of turn number 2, a little bit of cars dropping some tires. Eric Catil getting a push from Eric Meadows up alongside Andy Smedegaard. Not bad to have the V8 behind you pushing you down the straight into turn 3.
Looks like we've got them all. Natalie went for a little bit of a ride on the outside of the first turn, but clean into 3 so far. And Brian right out front, right where he started.
And what we've seen with this invert in the past is that drivers really seem to struggle passing in race 4 because of how equal things are. We'll see if Rosenberg can add to his 420-point total. Nice. As he climbs up the hill towards turn number 7. And Magnuson trailing Heddy in there in that S2000. He just shows up for one event a year, right in the mix. Yep. This is such an impressive drive.
Yeah, lovely to see locals come out and be local. It's really cool to see a bunch of them come out for this event in across all the different series. And really good show put on by Brian Heddy so far.
Yeah, high winds here, so we got cameras dropped down a little bit. Just make sure our camera guys don't fall out of the lifts.
You don't want the lifts tipping over. Oh, we got big smoke behind the trainer 3 off into the grass, looking to preserve the racetrack. Great move there by Tom. Hopefully it is a minor incident. We don't have oil on the track, but great awareness by Tom. And getting into the cutout. Excellent work by Mr. O'Gorman.
Yeah, that is a championship driver doing championship things. Unfortunately, looks like that car will stop there. But Tom doing everything exactly like you're supposed to. Model citizen there today. Looks like Matan is giving Barbado some challenge down into turn 17 as we come around to complete our first lap. It's still Heddy and out in front of Magnuson as they come down towards the hairpin, and Eric Catil is slotted into 4th. There's Barbado on defense from Matan Rosenberg.
Barbado not making it easy for Matan, and he shouldn't. His car's been very competitive at many events this year. Pretty decently mid-range power, low 200s, but the car is very well driven. Barbado, setting record times in practice at Lime Rock in pre-event. Very fast driver there.
I'm excited to watch this fight between Heddy and Magnuson. Magnuson got his first few wins of his GLTC career here earlier in the year at GRIDLIFE Midwest Festival, and these two have been nose to tail all weekend long. Heddy and checking the brakes there, make sure he's got pressure. Magnuson up the outside, little puff of smoke on the binders, and look at Andy Smedegaard licking his lips.
5 very different cars making up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and really fun to watch as they drop down the hill here. Single file at the moment, all looking to exhibit some strengths of theirs and take advantage of some weaknesses of the others, but everybody really crisp, very tidy so far.
Yeah, looks like Andy's going to try to drive up, catch Eric Magnuson here into the S's on the backside of the course. Really tight racing behind Barbado. There's Paul Darling, Joel Morrison, Lena Chin, all in a pretty tight race. But the top 3, this is going to get pretty spicy up here as they battle for position.
Looking for flags, not seeing a surface flag. Hopefully we have a good racetrack under us with that smoke from the O'Gorman machine. And so far, so good. Thankfully, he got to a good spot, not seeing yellows or yellow with red. So yellow with red meaning debris flag. Hopefully we have a good track for these drivers.
Yeah, great work there by Tomo to get off the racetrack so fast, too. He departed the track like 100 miles an hour.
Picture left and got right behind the orange. This track is FIA rated with the orange marks on the side of the wall to show you where to go. Good safe spot when you see an orange barricade in the end of the wall.
Heddy starting to put some distance on Eric Magnuson. Can see if Smedegaard can get by the 330 and maybe set sail. Hedion's got the fastest lap of the race so far to 1:59.828. Track's a little slower. Again, that was lap 1 where you're kind of coming up to speed, so we'll likely see the fastest lap change hands. Rosenberg, little smoke there. Ooh, a lot of smoke.
Big smoke. And
is the engine letting go on Rosenberg's car?
We might have a change here if Rosenberg is having issues. This is a dry sump LS, and hopefully it keeps everything inside of it, but we're seeing a good amount of smoke there. Yeah, that is very abnormal for this car.
Yeah, it's super abnormal, and I guess he's really lucky that Catil had the trouble that he did in race 2, because if we had not yet decided the championship, if he can't finish this race, that would have turned things on its head this year.
Very, very much so. That's how close this is. We're seeing Heddy still with a little bit of a head of steam going towards turn 3. This is turn 3, correct? Yep. I'm bad with numbers, but a little bit of smoke in the same spot, but the gap has not changed, P1 through 5. Very tidy.
And Magnuson has closed in slightly. Things are condensing here at the front of the field. We're far from over just yet. Eric Magnuson is third in the standings coming into this event. He's won 4 races. 2 of those came at Midwest Festival. Another came at Mid-Ohio, and then another one a little bit later on, 3 at Midwest, 1 at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. So he's looking for his 5th win on the season if he were to get around Hedian, who's never won here in GLTC.
So far, we're seeing Magnuson making that big wide body LS-powered E46 as big as it can be. The lighter weight cars not being able to exhibit the slightly better pace they have through this section here, and then he is able to keep them off.
Well, Catil right up on Andy Smedegaard's tailpipes there as they come down over the crest. So while the battle for first has fizzled for a moment, Catil has overlap on Smedegaard to the outside of turn 12. This is a tough place to make a pass, though.
A little bit of a nose, but a little bit too fast into there. He's got to brake and check up, and Smedegaard ducks a little bit inside of him. See how it looks on the way out.
Yeah, Rosenberg's engine is there's something's definitely not happy, but he ran the fastest lap of the race last time by, so we'll see if it clings on the last few minutes of this one. Catil and Smedegaard side by side, and then Morrison and Paul Darling are door to door through turn 15.
Not seeing any kind of a line behind him. Hopefully it's just coming out the tailpipes, whatever it is. Maybe he's lost a valve seal or part of a ringland, but
it's not slowing him down.
Thankfully, it is. We're not seeing a line behind it. A lot of smoke, though. Something definitely to be concerned about.
Eric Magnuson passed Hedian for the lead. Hedian must have slipped up, and now the battle's going to be for second place as they come across the stripe. Catil and Andy side by side. Meadows is going to push Andy down the front straightaway and take third place back from Catil.
Catil in a tight spot here in the outside of 1, tucks in just next to Andy, and on the rumbles, you can see the sparks flying. That is a rough little ride for him.
Yeah, Meadows again is going to push Andy on by, and here comes Matan Rosenberg up to the inside.
3-car battle making a way for Matan here.
And we'll go on by a couple of cars there on the straight line, even billowing smoke out the back, which Catil drops now another spot.
I'm sure he can smell whatever's coming out of Matan's. Hopefully he can't see it. Hopefully it's just smells.
And would they give him a meatball flag or something of the sort?
Only if they're dropping fluids. I'm sure all the workers are being instructed to look at the blue and white to make sure there is nothing falling out. If it's coming out tailpipe, no, not in this scenario.
So the leaders have traded positions. Again, Magnuson out in front of Hedian now by 1.5. We didn't exactly see what happened to Brian to change hands there as Catil pulls up alongside Rosenberg off into turn 8, 9, and 10. But about 10 car lengths between the 2 leaders, and Smedegaard has some distance for third. Here comes Catil up to driver's left.
Yep, Catil keeps trying this turn 12 braking zone, and that's a tough spot. Sometimes it can work. It's a battle of wits as you're entering that zone there.
And then those front 2 are just setting sail. Catil back by Rosenberg.
Catil got that one there. That was that must have been a tidy little break there. Every worker station I am watching for the debris flag. Hopefully we do not see that. We didn't see it after the O'Gorman incident where he got to a good spot thanks to him. Hopefully we do not see it following the blue and white of Matan Rosenberg.
Yeah, see the rub blocks under Eric Catil's car sparking. Barbado has a look at. Oh, that was really a big lunge.
Tight with Eric. Hopefully that was smooth. Looks like it was.
7 minutes to go now. And
not seeing the straight line that maybe hard to tell.
It's like the second half of the straight, really. It's like they dig out of the corner from like 40 to 80. It's kind of the same, and then beyond that.
So what we're dealing with here, and we can see this on GPS data, really is just the slipstream that naturally happens when you have such a small frontal area and a large torque motor. The car is very quick, above 100 miles an hour. That's where you see it keep going, and the other cars taper off. Just a factor of the very different builds between these cars. And some tracks it's easier to parity, some tracks it is not, unfortunately.
Yeah, Catil was middle between those Corvettes on the run up to turn 3 now, back in behind Rosenberg. And Eric Meadows can't do much about it now. This is where this Honda comes back into its own. Not necessarily yet here, but once you get to turn 7, that's when things start to flip back in your favor. Hedian now dealing with Smedegaard.
That is a lot of smoke. Very concerning. Hopefully we're still good, but Eric Catil in a Corvette sandwich, as you just said. This is a tight spot for him. He needs to exhibit the strengths of this car going through the uphill towards 12. His car is very good here. Probably see him tuck next to Rosenberg again if he gets lucky.
Yeah, see how much ground he gains right here in this right-hander. And then when we go back to the left, they'll disappear out of view, then come down the hill towards 12. That's where we saw Catil get the overlap last time by. There's Barbado and Meadows. They got real tight in 17 the last time around. And then Darling, there's Joel Morrison, who's up inside the top 10 with Lena Chin right there in the blue and
Chin with
orange.
a good run on the back of Joel there, putting about 3-4 car lengths on him.
Top three still Magnussen, Hedian, and Andy Smedegaard.
Cattell closer to Matan as we expected as we round the really fast kink right here.
And then you see Morrison and Lena Chin real tight. Look at Silo Shukla. And then these two in the background, Sam Scott and Michael Pagano, those two have been nose to tail lots this season and have had some really great fights, thinking even back to places like Lime Rock Park. Those two cars find each other a lot on the road.
Very different builds, but yeah, great to see competitors over and over just racing clean together and attending so many rounds. They don't get sick of each other. They must like racing.
So Matan Rosenberg picks up 4th place again. You see the next point get added to the total, 423, which is, I think, almost the highest points value we've ever seen accumulated in a GRIDLIFE Touring Cup season.
If not, yes.
Go back and find out that stat from 2024.
Magnussen has quite the gap here. His car getting better and better throughout the weekend, figuring this track out under these conditions. Seems like we are potentially going to be dry. We need about 2 more laps of dry. 4 minutes, 40 seconds on the clock at the moment. Magnussen driving quite well, as always here.
I was wrong about that. Jeremy Swenson's 2023 season, 443 points after all the races were complete.
A lot of points, a lot of laps.
Now, see Morrison and Lena Chin, that battle, they've been nose to tail all weekend long. Kevin Zhu's right behind there in 11th place. He's doing a great job this weekend.
Yeah, I'm curious about the potential setup changes these other drivers make. That I wish we had more of a story to tell on some of those, because they were expecting rain. As I talked to most of the drivers on the lunch break, they were mostly expecting rain, and who knows about the setup changes that they made.
Let's have a look at the weather graphic on the bottom right again as we get down to the last couple of laps. I'll bet you that radar, we got little pockets of it around us here, Adam. So again, it's not yet raining, but it could at any moment. I don't think it's going to be enough to change the outcome of this race, but podium sprint up next could absolutely change the outcome of this conversation.
Yeah, it hasn't quite crossed into Pennsylvania on my radar, but it is basically knocking on the door, and we're only about 10-15 miles in, so we're very close.
Yeah, and Brian Hedian has run Magnussen back down.
Look at the smoke from Matan's car. Really wondering what's going on here.
Yeah, and again, the other thing is whatever is causing that smoke, at some point, whatever fluid is causing that is going to run out. So yeah, that's the thing to consider.
Very, very true. Hopefully it's not flicking up and getting on the other cars. I'm not seeing any loss of pace or any squirreliness behind it, so thankful for that for the other drivers.
Half a second back, Hedian was quicker than Magnussen by 2/10, and this is the white flag lap. This will be the last lap of this race, last lap of the season for Eibach GLTC. Matan Rosenberg up alongside Andy Smedegaard for 3rd, and Brian Hedian, if he wants to steal this from Magnussen, he's running out of time.
Very clean so far. We got 1 more lap of the year. Thankful to the drivers, all their spotters and crew, and really thankful to the staff, the grid workers. Just the best team to work with. Hopefully we got 1 more clean one, and we can give a good round of applause for our buddies in Eibach GLTC.
Yeah, Matan Rosenberg, the championship is already wrapped up. It will be his 2nd title, first ever consecutive title as well, because Jeremy Swenson's were separated by a Tom O'Gorman win in 2022. But job well done, well executed all season long. And Eric Cattell, Eric Magnussen, you have to give a lot of credit to them. This is only Magnussen's 2nd season in GLTC, and Eric Cattell his 3rd with this car, but so much effort and energy and development put into that Honda Civic, and we know he'll come out strong next year with even more changes.
Yeah, a lot of wild stories out of the Cattell camp. The car was upside down in a ditch on the way back from COTA, got rebuilt, had a few incidents last year, got rebuilt, and showroom quality, factory effort, it looks like. You couldn't tell the difference if Honda themselves built this car.
Down the hill for the last time here at Pittsburgh International Race Complex for Eibach GLTC. Brian Hedian, now he was looking for the lead, now has to just hold on to 2nd as they motor towards turn 17. Joel Morrison, Lena Chin, and here comes Matan on the outside. Hedian's going to lean on the brakes here, try to outbrake the champion one last time up the hill. Eric Magnussen is going to come on through, and I think Matan's going to snag 2nd place away here from Brian Hedian. But Eric Magnussen, for his 5th time this season, will win a race. Matan Rosenberg is going to win the title with a 2nd place in race number 4. Brian Hedian in 3rd, then Andy Smedegaard, Eric Cattell, Eric Meadows, who picks up the fastest lap of the race right at the end there, and then Barbado, Darling, and how about this battle all the way to the stripe? Pagano, Sam Scott, and more coming across the checkers here in a great battle. This is for 13th place. Great result at the tail end of the season for Pagano in that really unique BMW.
Great work by all the drivers here. Love seeing so many green to checker races. Minimal downtime, and Yeah, hopefully we don't have anybody but Tomo to pick up. Curious what happened there. Apologies to him for the end of his season that way, but so thankful that he came out to join us here at Pittsburgh.
Yeah, always cool to have Tomo come back out, and he was kind of joking that everyone was saying it's like the battle bots have come back out, but did a great job, as much as you could ask for.
Yeah,
when
Tomo definitely one of the final bosses of pretty much anything he's driven at GRIDLIFE.
Let's have a look at the results here for the last race of the season in Eibach GRIDLIFE Touring Cup, and it was Eric Magnussen with the P1 gets it done here in Eibach GLTC. Matan Rosenberg from 7th to 2nd. Maybe just needed another lap or two to run down Magnussen. Heading into 3rd place, podium result for him. Andy Smedegard and Eric Catil 4th and 5th. You got to give Eric a lot of credit this weekend. Fought some issues, but that car is wicked fast.
Yep, very quick. Solid drive throughout the field, 11 through 20, only separated by 10 seconds roughly here, and just so happy that that all the drivers came out to celebrate this track for its final competition weekend, yeah. Just a solid way to end. Glad to see all the cars, except for Tom's, which will come back on the hook, but all the cars make it in one piece, looking great. Hopefully a lot of fist bumps and a lot of high fives.
Let's have a look at the highlights here from Eibach GLTC race number 4. We didn't get the wet race that we were anticipating. I think we'll still see some rain play a factor later. Green flag started with Brian Hedian out front, and he established about a 5-car length lead over Eric Magnussen. All the while, Tom O'Gorman's engine or something let go on that car. Did exactly the thing that you'd expect a guy like that to do. Pulled off the racetrack to preserve the race. Then Eric Magnussen tried to track down the leader, Brian Hedian, while Catil and Smedegard fought for 3rd. And then a little bit later in the race, Smedegard pulled up right up alongside Magnussen. They were attacking the curbs using all the width of the road. And Matan Rosenberg's car started smoking here early on in the race. And it didn't take too long for Hedian to make a little bit of a mistake there. Magnussen got by and started to establish a pretty sizable lead, while Catil, Smedegard, Meadows, and Matan Rosenberg fought for position. Flames out the tailpipes, and Catil just in this V8 sandwich here headed down the hill. But all that aside, the drag race to the line, Matan Rosenberg finishes 2nd but wins the title, and Eibach GLTC for 2025 is complete. Eric Magnussen wins the race. Matan Rosenberg is your champion for the 2nd time in his career.